I keep telling you guys, the takeover is here. Caitlin Clark, brand new commercial, fire. Brand new commercial, fire. She is working off the floor. Booked and busy. Y'all keep talking about who's doing this and who's doing that. Nobody doing it bigger than CC right now.
Caitlin Clark just dropped another commercial with Dick's Sporting Goods, and the internet's absolutely buzzing about it. Her off-season prep for next year looks like a full-time job. Somehow, she's busier now than when she was actually playing, which has everyone debating the same thing. Is this the definition of the grind, or is she overdoing it? From endorsement deals to training montages, fans can't decide if she's setting herself up to dominate next season, or if she's burning the candle at both ends. And of course, the attention gap conversation is back in full swing. Some people love the spotlight she brings. Others say it's too much. So what do you think? Should athletes focus on recovery or stack those off-season bags while the offers are hot? Drop your take below. And if you're loving this breakdown, hit that like and subscribe so you never miss a Court Queen's deep dive. All right, let's talk about how Caitlin Clark's offseason has basically turned into a headline-grabbing spectacle of its own. Because apparently, time off doesn't really exist when you're the most marketable player in women's basketball. Her latest project? Another slick commercial for Dick's Sporting Goods. Fans are hyped, but it's got people wondering, is she actually resting, or is this just another extension of her workload? The ad itself looks stunning, filmed on what seems to be a high school court, symbolizing where her journey began. Beautiful visuals, high-end production. Everything you'd expect from a top-tier partnership. But here's the thing. This isn't some quick cameo. It's another piece of a much bigger pattern. Caitlin's off-season is packed. Photo shoots, commercials, appearances, brand deals, sponsorship events. She's literally traded game days for studio days. And after last season, when she battled that ear injury and clearly needed a break, fans are asking the hard question. When does she actually get to breathe?
Focused up and rehabbing and training. You think she's not getting ready to humiliate these ladies on the floor next year? They got away with one this year. They got away with it this year. It's not going to happen next year.
Here's the ironic twist. One of the main criticisms of Caitlin last season was that she never slows down. Remember those stories about her being in New York for a media event, but still bringing her trainer along to squeeze in workouts? That's next-level commitment. And honestly, part of what makes her such a phenomenon. But it's also a double-edged sword. Because as impressive as the grind looks, recovery matters just as much as hustle. Your body can't perform at its peak without downtime. Your mind needs those quiet moments to reset. Even the most driven athletes risk burnout if they stay in overdrive 24/7. And Caitlin might be walking that line. What do you think? Is constant work her superpower, or could it end up being her biggest weakness? Let us know your take down below, and make sure you're subscribed so you're always first in line for new WNBA stories that hit different.
If you thought this was going to be a nice, calm off-season for her, does not seem to be the case. It does not seem to be the case that is going to be a calm off-season off the court, because it genuinely seems like it is. It's equally as busy as last.
Here's something a lot of people forget. The WNBA's 8-month off-season is actually a luxury compared to college ball. Back at Iowa, Caitlin barely had 3 months off before she was back on court. But even then, early season games gave her room to coast a little. She didn't have to go full throttle every single night. That's not how it works in the pros. There's no warm-up period. You're facing Ryan Howard pressing full court in Game 2, then dealing with Natasha Cloud and the Liberty's elite defense the next week. Every matchup is intense from day one. That's exactly why this break should matter. It's her chance to recharge, reset, and rebuild before the grind starts again. Instead, it feels like every week's booked solid with photo ops, brand events, and promo shoots. Great for visibility, sure, but maybe not for longevity. What do you think? Is this the cost of superstardom, Or could this schedule come back to haunt her when the season tips off?
Obviously, it was a massive bummer when Caitlin Clark missed as much of the season as she did. It still feels like a massive bummer. I think that image of her with the towel over her head is entrenched in the minds of many. Just sadness, right? It's like the end of Empire Strikes Back or something. But after that, you need Return of the Jedi. And one thing I've been thinking about and seeing a little bit when it comes to the campaigns that have rolled out around Caitlin are how they could really coincide with the
The
company.
new Dick's Sporting Goods commercial featuring Caitlin Clark isn't just another polished promo. It's storytelling done right. It captures her grinding in a real gym, sweat, sneakers squeaking, no fancy filters, just raw work. The Caitlin's Court branding builds this whole grassroots narrative, connecting her superstar image back to the same small-town gyms where so many young hoopers first fall in love with the game. It's clever marketing because it makes her feel real, relatable, and accessible, even though she's now one of the most recognized athletes on the planet. But behind that authentic image, there's a bigger question simmering. How much is Caitlin actually resting? Between brand shoots, fever appearances, and keeping her social media buzzing, her schedule looks relentless. Great for her brand and her bank account. But is it great for her body or her peace of mind? There's a reason elite athletes in other leagues vanish during the off-season. They disappear to heal. Not just physically, but mentally too. Caitlin's Nike deal alone is worth more than her entire WNBA salary for several seasons combined. And when a major brand like Dick's comes calling with another $1 million campaign, who could realistically say no? Her playing career might span 10, maybe 15 years tops if she stays healthy. From a business perspective, stacking deals while she's at her peak makes perfect sense. But from a longevity standpoint, it's risky. The funny thing? The criticism that she needs to get back in the gym couldn't be further from reality. If anything, last season showed she was in the gym too much. Constant workouts, no real downtime, pushing through exhaustion and injury. Remember those stories about her bringing trainers to New York during media tours just to squeeze in extra hours of work? That mentality forged her greatness. But it could also be the very thing that shortens her prime if she doesn't find a way to balance the hustle with recovery. Back at Iowa, she could get away with that lifestyle. Fewer games, softer competition early in the season, and a shorter schedule meant she could play through fatigue. But the WNBA? That's a 34-game marathon plus playoffs against the best athletes in the world. Players like Aya Wilson and Chelsea Gray, who've mastered how to pace their bodies for the long haul. Caitlin's learning that lesson the hard way. And honestly, the fact that fans haven't seen her truly healthy since September 2024 is wild. That's over a year. The last time she looked fully herself, she was dropping triple-doubles on the Sparks and nearly dragging the Fever into a playoff upset against Connecticut. That's the Caitlin Clark fans are desperate to see again. The one who looked unstoppable. The upcoming Team USA opportunity could finally be her big reset. If she spends this off-season truly healing, not just filming, the world might see that vintage version again, sharper, rested, ready. But if she shows up to Team USA camp still nursing old issues, it'll raise some serious red flags. From a marketing angle, though, these commercials are genius. They keep Caitlin front and center during an off-season when most WNBA players fade out of the spotlight. Between October and May, the league goes quiet, but Caitlin keeps the conversation alive, keeping fans thinking, talking, engaged. That's not just great for her. It's good for the WNBA as a whole. But it also comes with a price. Staying visible means staying busy, and staying busy means less rest. And when you zoom out, the entire Caitlin Clark story feels surreal. A few years ago, UConn didn't recruit her. Team USA wasn't calling. People doubted if her game would even translate to the pros. Fast forward, and she's the face of women's basketball, with endorsement deals, record-breaking viewership, and an entire generation of fans following her every move. She's changed the sport. But with that success comes new weight, expectations from every direction. Brands want her because she sells. The Fever need her as their franchise centerpiece. Fans want dominance, highlights, records. And somewhere in that mix, the human being behind the superstar still needs a break. Learning how to say no. That's the next step in her evolution. The new coaching staff in Indiana could actually be the key. Fresh leadership often brings fresh thinking about recovery. Load management, rest days, smarter minutes. The Fever can't afford to burn out their most valuable player, and if they're paying attention to how last season ended, they'll build a better plan around her physical limits this time. What's also clear is that the fan base isn't just watching her, they're rooting for her recovery. The response to this commercial proves it. People aren't excited just because it's a slick ad. They see it as a signal that Caitlyn's locked in and ready to bounce back. They want that comeback story. Of course, not everyone's thrilled with the imbalance in attention. Angel Reese had a strong rookie season and a growing brand herself, but the gap between her exposure and Caitlyn's is massive. That's just the business side of sports. The most marketable players pull the spotlight, and sometimes that creates tension. And as for the talk that Caitlyn's already set for life, not quite. Sure, she's made millions, but taxes, expenses, and long-term security make that picture a little less glamorous. She's built a strong foundation, not generational wealth, not yet. Which is why continuing to take those endorsement checks makes sense, even if it means juggling recovery with responsibility. Ultimately, Caitlyn Clark's offseason has become a mirror for a much bigger question in the WNBA. What should the offseason look like for stars? Should they grind year-round to maximize their brand, or take true time off to protect their health? The real answer is probably somewhere in the middle. Veterans learn to listen to their bodies. Younger players like Caitlyn are still figuring out that balance. Her off-season is proof that being the face of a league isn't just about basketball. It's about business, balance, and the battle to stay human in the middle of it all. If you want to keep up with how Caitlyn and other WNBA stars are reshaping the game on and off the court, hit that like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you subscribe, because Court Queens has all the stories the mainstream outlets won't tell.